And hello, welcome to the live episode. This is episode number whatever. I just put a random number in there, so don't go by that number. But this is an episode that's happening. We're going to start counting from 136. I thought it was random enough where no one would question it. If it was like episode 500, people would question it. And I don't feel like this is episode 500 enough. But, you know, it's good enough. 137 is about where I feel like I'm at in terms of this thing, even though it should probably be lower. I probably overestimated how much experience this feels like I'm doing. This is not 137 episodes worth of production value or content, but it could be today. It might be different today. So stay tuned. And, let's hope that it's watchable and listenable. Lots happening in the world. The plane crash still happened 2 days ago now. Not yesterday, but the day before. We're almost at the 48-hour mark of a helicopter crashing into a plane, which is not something that happened a lot of different times before. Yes, I got a new angle. You can see my little head right here. You can't see my eyes, which should be nothing out of the usual. Even if you could see my eyes, you couldn't see my eyes. So there's that angle. This is he's having a hot take. Let's take a different look at his face, see if there's any angle, there's anything going on. This face from a different angle. Trying to get my neck straight. This is a good angle to check my posture. This is not as good. It helps me keep centered. This is the center. Keep my spirit centered. This is my keep it up and down straight, whatever. So let's look at the news. Um, we're gonna go just take a quick gander at the news. Oops. Uh, there we go. Make me small. Make me photo. Department of Army identifies two of the three Army soldiers involved. They didn't involve the third one. Who's this mystery third man? I was guessing they were young. Oh, that's sad. Is that him? White people all look the same to me. This could be him with a mustache, but I don't think so. He looks more mischievous. He looks like he got into the army to goof around a little bit. But of course, I don't want to say that about people that died. Very sad. I'm not saying they died because they goofed off, but he just looks like a little goofy guy. He looks like he'd build a cabin in the woods or something. Poor guy, feel bad for him. I'm not happy that people are dead. That's not one of the things I do unless it's Brian Thompson. And even in that case, I was a little sad that he had to die. Maybe just send him a strongly worded letter. Of course, it's not going to change anything. But yeah, I mean, if he killed people, I guess. But whatever. We're not here to legislate death and dole out life and death punishment. How old is he? From the 12th Aviation Battalion. It was an army. Oh, army. That's the biggest one. That's the most general. That's the general military. Where you're like, oh, I'm going to the military. Oh, the army. Because army is like a word for military for most people. So this is just like, oh, you're an engineer? What are you? A mechanical engineer? Engineering is pretty mechanical, so it's a pretty general army thing. That's my understanding. Marines are like sort of like crazy people and people that are kind of like a little bit crazy, like mentally unwell. Maybe they have like violent tendencies and they shove them in the army and put them in situations where their psychopathy would be helpful. The Navy is more like it's like a pirate. You're like a pirate. You're just like on a boat in the middle of nowhere. You're like creating a society in the middle of the sea. So you're just more like a libertarian. Um, the army is a general. That just is everything. That's just a normal what you think of the military. And then the Air Force is like nerds and like people that press buttons and are really good at programming shit. So yeah, there's a little rundown of our military. I want to see how old he was. 28, still pretty young. I don't know if he was a pilot. 39. Jesus. Duty status whereabouts unknown. So maybe he jumped out of the helicopter and they were freaking out that this 39-year-old escaped. And it's just a 28-year-old. But yeah, they seem pretty old. I guess the fucking military is like pretty old now. Is that a thing? An old military? Anyways, an active duty Army soldier just posted about the poor training that the Army provides their soldiers first and pilots second. This guy blamed the training. Hmm. I have no information to go on, but yeah, I mean, obviously they could have trained to avoid a jet. Maybe look out for shit. But yeah, it's hard to see things that are on a collision path. That's probably the one thing that's the hardest to see. If someone's like gonna miss you, you can see the light moving. Oh, I forgot to turn off the fluorescent lights. But if something's on a collision course, then it's more difficult to see because it just stays stationary in your field of view. So something I learned on YouTube. That's very sad. I wish they hadn't died and taken out other people. But yeah, I mean, how sad. Anyways, yesterday I did a set at the Secret Show, Brian Redband's show. It is a show called The Secret Show at the Sunset Strip, Brian Redband's club, his show at his club. He owns, he's horizontally integrated or vertically integrated. He owns the whole shebang. He owns the club, he owns the show, he owns the lineup. It's Brian Redband's wet dream. And you know how good he is at those. And it was a great show, sold out audience, of course, as always. Um, a lot of Jews. No, it was a great show. Not too many Jews. I don't know if there were any. I never asked, but yeah, it was a great show. It was a great time. The audience was, you know, pensive. I would say they were anticipatory. They were analyzing and analysis mode. They weren't as happy-go-lucky as most Texas audiences. They were more nerdy and, you know, trying to understand what was happening, trying to look deeper. Do people ever go on the Secret Show without being on KT? Yeah, there's a bunch of people that are very funny that never go on KT because they just don't want to wait or something. Darius Bennett comes to mind. Jason Rouse was there yesterday. I could just go through the lineup. But there were a couple people that were on Kill Tony. I think Tanner Amiglio. But you're not a hot chick. How'd you get to perform? People always misspell hows and how'd. How's your mom? How did your mom get that giant bruise on her face? But yeah, hows and how'd. Very common misspelling. And sometimes autocorrect will autocorrect how'd to house. They don't want you talking in the past tense. Yeah, I'm not a hot chick, but I am an Asian man, which is the closest a man can get to a hot chick, besides being gay. But yeah, there's a lot of great comedians on in Austin that don't go on Kill Tony. They're just bumming around doing their own thing. And that's sometimes they get spots at the secret show. Good for them. Big fan, Hans. How you doing? I'm doing great. I was at the secret show yesterday. We were hanging out. They were filming an episode of a web series that's supposed to come out soon on the Sunset Strip Instagram page, having to do with Jamar Neighbors. I don't know how much I can go into it. I don't want to spoil anything, but stay tuned to the Sunset Strip Instagram to watch. I'm on one episode. I wish I was funnier, but it was kind of like a 1 minute prep time, and I just was thrown into it. Had to be funny at a moment's notice. And yeah, I mean, I just did my thing. I just try to talk about things and do things and stuff. Just trying to riff. Oh, look, that painting. That painting is weird. Anyways, yeah, the Seeker show is great. Good hang. I left early because my girlfriend said that she would stay up late with me tonight. And guess what? She fell asleep at 9:30. Probably 9:15. Let me see exactly when she fell asleep. Because we were texting and then all of a sudden she stopped. I mean, just finished 9:53. Okay, well, I don't know if anyone here would consider 9:50 to be late, but that's how late she stayed up for me. And I was at the Seeker show, and then I come back and she's sleeping. So I didn't get to hang out as much as I would want to. But yeah, the Kill Tony world is awesome. The Sunset Strip green room is awesome. It's a nice slice of life. It's away from the mothership. People feel a little more relaxed, like they can say racial slurs and not be banned from the best comedy club in the world. It's a place where you can let your, you know, felonies out. No, I'm just kidding. It's not a place where you can let your felonies out. Please don't felonize at the Sunset Strip, but it's a more looser environment, which, in some ways is good for comedy because people feel more loose and having fun. So it's a different vibe. It's always sold out or close to it. The people who have been there know at this point, who knows how many people have been there. It's crazy how you can do shows in person forever and see sold out audiences all the time, and it's still like not not making a dent in the digital world. I think people just separate, even if they have seen the Secret Show in person, they just don't bring it up online because online you just are in online mode. You act like everyone else. No, I haven't seen that. I'm one of you. I'm an internet person. So it's crazy how people like don't even like mention shows they've seen in person live. It's like, where does all this shit go? But yeah, where do all those people go? They just fucking disappear. But yeah, it's a good show. It's always sold out. It's beautiful. It's fun. Bright and red bands in the back, just being goofy, being a host of the show. Everyone is riffing and talking. It's a great vibe. It's a fun time in that GR. That's what I call green rooms. The old GR. Hopefully the noise gate is catching that. We are right in front of 6th Street in Austin, Texas, home of the debauchery and main central hub of ATX, Austin, Texas. But yeah, and then before I did the Secret Show, I did a little set at a comedy club called the Comedy Mothership. It is a very beautiful club. It was sold out to the gills all the way to the back. Usually the back row, there's places you can sit, and it's a great vibe back there. And sometimes you can sit and watch, but it was so packed that even the back row was filled. And I made eye contact with the guy sitting in the back. I thought it'd be a comedian. It was just some random dude, and I just looked at him like I was gonna make a personal connection with him and give him a greeting, but it was just some random dude. Um, yeah, I went to the green room. It was all showcases, so it was a bunch of comedy mothership. Um, the guys that aren't famous yet, but are funny enough to be door guys, the best of Austin local comedy, just hanging out in the green room, doing their thing, being artsy fartsy, reliving other people's bits. They were talking about James McCann's bit about fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not going to do the whole bit. It's online, but I don't know what if I should do it or not. But yeah, it's a good bit. It's a great bit, funny bit. And they were talking about that. I went up, did my set, did a couple jokes about the plane crash, a little riff or two, a little ha-has, ha-ha-has at the fucking people that died. But yeah, it was a great show for me. I kind of preferred that set. I was trying out a lot of new stuff. Didn't go as well, but I fucking rescued it at the end. How much does a doorman job pay? Don't know. James got a podcast too. James McCann Catamaran Plan. It rhymes. Maybe I should call mine Hans Kim. Rim job of the rim. Nim Timlim Fim. Flim Flam. But yeah, very funny guy from Australia. Australia. So yeah, it was a good night. James McCann wasn't there, but he was there in spirit. Um, and then I went home after my girlfriend told me she was going to stay up late with me, and she was asleep, sleeping like she always does. She's always sleeping and working. Um, yeah, I mean, it pays decently. I don't really know exactly, but they seem happy. They seem well fed. Some of them too well fed. But yeah, no, it's not about the money, but yeah, they do get compensated a living wage, hopefully, hopefully they get paid fairly. It is the best comedy club in the world. But yeah, they seem happy. They are very dedicated to the job. It's like their whole life. They're very into the fact that they're door guys at the mothership. It's a credit. And it helps them tour maybe a little bit. I mean, they could if they wanted to. But yeah, it's a great vibe. Yeah, it's a very prestigious honor in Austin comedy to be a door guy at the Comedy Mothership. It's a fucking system. It's like, hey, why don't we just take these people who do jobs that anyone can do and give it to the biggest slackers and biggest fucking lazy, entitled pieces of shit, a comedian, an up and coming comedian. But yeah, someone called Hans Kim the ultimate femme. I am not that feminine. My shoulders are kind of narrow, but that's just because my head is so big. I have normal shoulders. I just have a giant head. So it dwarfs my shoulders. Maybe you can see it like this. This help make my shoulders look whatever. I'm trying to be like this more. So my neck isn't craned forward. Trying to keep it straight and back. Is there a height and weight requirement? I can bulk like it's a superhero. You're not a security guy. They have security guys that are separate from the door guys. The door guys can be even women, so you don't have to bulk up. In fact, maybe you could do a sex change. We even had a lesbian once, a short lesbian, Raya Cameraman. Don't know if she's a lesbian or if she's a she. I don't know what's going on, but they were different and they were a door guy because they were funny. You just have to be funny and a talented comedian, and Adam Egets, the one that makes that decision, and he's the best at that job. Yeah, he's assembled a very good crew, and it's great. He's not overbearing. He's just like he doesn't want to like you know he doesn't want to like fucking um curry favors or anything. He just if you're funny, that's all it takes. So that's it. Um, Lucky. Does that mean your other head is giant? Hell yeah. It's just all head. I got no shaft. Circumcision was a bitch. It was just a tarp. Is there a height and weight requirement? I can bulk like a superhero role. I mean, you should probably do that anyways. If you want to have the healthiest body, you should just have the most muscles possible. Um, Yeah, there's a lot going on. The Mothership is cool. The Sunset Strip also has door guys, very much in the same style. Very funny guys at the Sunset Strip as well. None are coming to mind. Yonder Wizard, very funny guy. He's he's online perpetually, so he might be watching right now. Yonder Wizard. I have no ill will. I want to form a peace between our peoples, the ratchety, raggedy whites and the beautiful, handsome Asians. But yeah, I love Yonder Wizard. I will pick things up and put them down. Yeah, you don't even have to do that. You just have to bag phones. There's a big phone bagging industry. It's a trade. It's a career path. If you're good at taking phones and putting them in a bag and putting the fucking lock in, then you're good to go. But yeah, there's a lot going on with the phone bagging. It makes people more in the moment. That you're actually staring at people like they're in the 90s. Um, they can't repeat anything unless they remember it. So if you say something crazy, what you have to do is distract them from what you said so they can't remember. It's all about misdirection. Yeah, it's a better audience. It's the way to go, in my opinion. But it is a lot and it's not always going to work out because it takes a lot of manpower and money and transportation cost if you're on the road and you want to do yonder bagging. But yeah, what else is going on? I want to talk about the Jews for some reason. The Jews still still genociding a little bit. I don't think they're done. It doesn't seem like they were very contrite. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the Jews in Israel are just like they're in this famine mindset, this fight or flight mindset, and it's unfortunate because they were the victim of that historically to a gargantuan degree. And if they can't learn that lesson that you shouldn't be doing that to other people, what chance do the rest of us have? If they're out here genociding, then shouldn't I be allowed to genocide? I mean, I don't even understand the implications of genocide like the Jews do. So maybe I should just pick a group and go at them because the Jews are doing it. Who are the best minorities to genocide? Great question that I came up with. They should do a clean out of that area called Gaza and build it up better for the Palestinians to live in peace and happiness. I agree. Or they should just, I mean, it seemed pretty fucked. I think they like salted the land, literally and figuratively. But yeah, I mean, Gaza, I don't really know too much about the geography. I'm not gonna come down on whether or not we should destroy it or not. I think that maybe it's salvageable. I mean, if we have Detroit, they can have Gaza. Famine is fucked. People gotta eat. But yeah, which minority would I genocide? Um, that's a hard question. What minorities are there? Let me look up minority groups and then just pick a good minority group. Um, non-Hispanic whites constitute the majority. That's not a minority. Can't genocide a majority. That's just at least a minority. It's like there's a stopping point. You're gonna run out of them. Majority, you just keep going. You just kill the majority of people. That's horrible. And all the other racial ethnic groups: Mexican, African American, Asian Americans, American Indian, Native Hawaiians. I mean, American Indians, some would say, were already the subject of genocide. So that'd be like an easy one. That'd be like a starter. You just go to fucking reservations, drop off some Jack Daniels or whatever Native Americans eat and drink, and just watch it slowly unravel. Native Hawaiians, I don't see anyone that's that mad at Native Hawaiians. They seem pretty chill unless you go to their island and you're white. What about motherfucking sexual minorities, involuntary minorities? Puerto Ricans. They're hard to genocide because they're pointy and sharp. Um, Voluntary minorities. Oh, here we go. Gender and sexuality minorities. I think that'd be fun. I don't think that's been a common one historically. I mean, I'm sure they've killed gays and the fucking Nazis. They hated the gays. But no one's no one's that mad at the gays. They're mad at the gays, but there's other ways to handle them besides genocide. Um, Lesbians, gay, bisexuals might be fun to genocide because they're so wishy-washy. It's like, what are you guys doing? And queer. What is queer? So I would have to say bisexuals. I would genocide bisexuals. Just because it's a challenge. It's like, how are you going to find them? And it's like, I don't find them being that big of a threat. I think if they can't figure out what person they want to fuck, I mean, if they're gonna fuck anyone and everyone, they're probably just too busy just sucking and fucking to really plan their fucking strategy. But the thing is that with bisexuals, they probably have like a rich sexual cast. What is that called? Coven. So that some of them might come after you who are not heterosexual and or are not cisgendered. So just everyone. It's not a thing. Okay, well, I came down with an answer. My answer is motherfucking bisexuals. That is the only group of people that I would genocide. Message retracted. I wonder what that guy was saying. I came in the middle of a crazy conversation. He retracted another one. You are Han Scam. I'm Korean too. Hello, knife teeth. Oh yeah. Hans is like researching all day. I just joined. Is this bad context or what the fuck? Well, I'm just picking a minority of genocide because the Jews are doing it. If the Jews can do it, we can all do it because they're the victims of genocide. I guess if you're the victim of one, you get to do one. I haven't been a victim of genocide besides by the Japanese who tried. So maybe I could colonize someone. I would like to colonize the bisexuals, please. I want them to speak my language, dress the way I want them to. On the question about comedy, where I'm at, there's nowhere to do sets, but I have a bunch of material written. What's the best way of going about getting to work on the sets? I would say move your ass out of the middle of fucking nowhere. You're in a death spiral. You're in the desert trying to look for water. And then get up in front of people. Go to a place where there's lots of people and just yell your ideas at them until you get better or until they relent and give you a TV show. But yeah, I would say moving is very important to comedy. Um, and enjoying a city for the people and learning about how the mood of the city affects you and just imbibing yourself in a city, I think is a great way to go about doing comedy. Comedy is all about the city you're in. The bigger the city you're in, the better the comedy is. It's a truism. It's a stereotype. It's a thing that I've noticed. A lot of people have noticed. The biggest cities have the best comedy. So you get to a place where your little flower can grow. Go to a place with good fertile soil and water and sun. Um, that's what I would say. So is Austin the move? I'm in a small town in Oklahoma. That's an over the road trucker. That's an over the road trucker. Don't know what that last part means, but Austin is the move. But even Dallas or Houston would be a great move compared to Oklahoma. That's not really a hotbed of comedy, but there's some good comedians in OKC and Tulsa. Yonder Wizard gives speeches about leaving your hometown and getting out. I mean, we live in a global society. Americans, maybe a more national society. We're connected to the country that we're in. It's not going to be that different. You're still going to feel at home. You can watch all your favorite shows. You don't need a VPN. unless you're watching porn, which is the same in Oklahoma. So it'll be the same. The same porn watching habits, same abortion laws. I would move, but Austin's a great move because you're close to your home. If you don't want to move, if you want to do comedy in the middle of nowhere, you're gonna have to travel a lot. So you might as well travel once, get it over with. Xinjiang region is wild right now for comedy. Yeah, go do comedy to the Uyghurs. They need it. They're suffering. Uyghurs need comedy, and you don't want to just go where, to some random place. So sorry for your past terrors from terrible white people. I'm German, so I'm not one of the bad guys, by the way. Didn't the Germans do the Holocaust? And didn't you guys have some colonies in Africa? I think Germans might be the worst because they tried to colonize other white people. And then it's like you can't even use racism to defend it. Like the Belgians didn't think the Congolese were humans. If they were wrong. They're definitely human, but they didn't think it what they were. So what they did was like to them, not that bad. But if you think that they're fucking human and you're also fucking going in and trying to colonize them and make them do German shit, then there's no there's no excuse. You're doing that to a human. Laughter is the best genocide medicine. Ha ha ha. Yeah, if only the Jews could have made the Nazis laugh. They say they're such great comedians, couldn't even keep the Nazis happy. And we all know Nazis are comedy fans. They're the easiest comedy fans. They're so easy to make laugh. All you have to do is just talk about Kamala Harris and what a bitch she is. Means I currently do over the trucking as a job. That might be fun to do comedy as a trucker. I think it's hard though, because you can't set down roots and you can't build relationships and be a part of the community. But you could do it, especially if you travel around, test your jokes out, learn, and get better that way. Get a reputation. Play Catan. I need to beat my brother-in-law. So how is playing Catan gonna help you beat your brother in the field of law? No, I'm just kidding. Usually you hyphenate brother-in-law because it's like one concrete thing, but you said brother-in-law. So I just misread that on purpose to be like, you have a brother that you want to defeat in the field of law. So, if you want to beat your brother-in-law, is it like your wife's brother or your sister's husband? In Korea, we have a different term for every kind of aunt and uncle. 작은 엄마, 큰 엄마, big mom, small mom. If she's older than your mom, she's a big mom. If she's younger and on your mom's side or on your dad's side, she's a small mom. 작은 엄마, I think. And then emo and emo is on your mother's side. Sister that's younger. Um, and then Sanchun is like brother of your mom that's older, and there's like different words for every kind of fucking family relation. It's hard to remember it all. Not sure oppressed people would find my lazy douchebaggery as funny as I find it. Well, that is time to fucking hone your douchebaggery and laziness to a sharp knife point. And, dagger a fucking Nazi with your douchebaggery. Sorry, my wife's bro. That's cool. At least, at least you're entering this relationship with your brother-in-law with the knowledge that you are having sex. If it's your sister's brother, then it's like, do you even have sex, bro? I'm having sex with your sister, but what are you doing? Then you're just a fucking leaf in the wind. You have no strong backbone. You're just some dude that happens to be related to a hot person. So it's good. You are in a relationship and you are meeting your wife's bro. And it's like, hey, I'm having sex. I got it locked down. I think that's awesome. That's a better brother-in-law. One of my goals is to do a good set on Kill Tony. I've been watching for a couple of years now. You've been a big inspiration for me to actually get on stage and do comedy, to tell my story through comedy. Much love always. Thank you for the insight. I greatly appreciate it. Well, I hope that you have done a little comedy and you're not just theory crafting from the comfort of your living room, but you've been a big inspiration for me to actually get on stage and do comedy, tell my story through comedy. So, I mean, it's still up in the air. I'm not sure if you've done comedy or not, but you know, it's a big difference between thinking about it and actually doing it. And once you do it, you'll get a lot more respect with other comedians. They'll be like, "Oh, you're one of us." I mean, it's a limited respect, but it's still respect. It's like, "Oh, you're not just a rube, just a punter, just a fucking crowd member, just cattle. You're actually a human being with thoughts that could cancel me or could write a cutting joke about me." Oh, 5 sets. Damn. Well, you're already in the 60th percentile. You're better than 60% of people that call themselves comedians. But yeah, I mean, I have probably done a lot more sets than that in a week. So you have to do 5 sets every week for 10 years at least if you want to hone it and get better as fast as possible. But you know, the fucking manly industrial capitalist way of getting good at comedy, I don't think is good for everyone. I think it's good for me because I'm autistic and I'm a nerd and I'm a dude and I have very little care or feeling about my emotional health. But I think if you're trying to be healthy and do it for a long time, I think approaching it from a more feminine perspective would be better, and trying to take care of yourself, drink tea, write in your diary about how mad that audience made you, or just tell funny jokes and stories online and don't do stand up. I mean, it's hard to get better that way because it's just no feedback. You're just hoping that it's good. But the good thing about comedy, stand up comedy, is that you can talk in front of people and constantly hone and get better. So that's why stand up comedy is so good, because there's actual feedback instead of just, you know, talking to yourself. You're actually developing and getting better. And it'll make your videos better too when you have a more finely refined sense of humor. Because when with humor, you're talking to people, even if you're the funniest person to yourself, it doesn't matter. The general public, you're doing it. That's your medium. Is the general public. A painter uses paint. A comedian uses the audience and triggers emotions in the audience to get the desired response and to create art. 7 sets a night. That's crazy. Ponca City? That sounds like a toy. Ponca? Ponca City? The feedback is from the internet views, but it's not as immediate as like fucking comedy where you just say the Jews are fucking weird. And then people immediately, like, you don't know what part of the video that they liked, what they hated. They can say it in the comments. You can see it in the fucking spikes and the fucking scrolling thingy. But with comedy, you know exactly where they didn't like it and how they didn't like it, because you can see their faces and you can see it change and you can understand where they're coming from, and emotionally you feel it in your heart. It's brutal, and it's a great way to get better at something. But yeah, I mean, internet videos are great. You know, Ethan Klein made funny internet video. Lots of people do it, you know, especially since with comedy you're constantly having to check in with the audience, so it's harder to develop a unique voice. You're just hard to not pander. But yeah, if you want to have like a unique little video, then I think making funny YouTube videos is great. Russia, Ukraine. Um, I mean, I don't think funny, like this guy says, he's probably not even funny, but it's like, I don't think funny is like a hard and fast rule. I think some people are better at being funny. I think some people have a harder time, but I think, being funny is something that isn't like hot. It's like, you're hot, you're not hot. It's like being funny changes from moment to moment. Like I could be funny at a swimming pool and then I go to a funeral and I'm not funny. It's like, I don't think it's important to like think of yourself as an intrinsically funny person, that you're funny all the time, you're always thinking of the funniest thing. Because then how are you gonna get through life if you're always trying to just be funny instead of like trying to like, go to the car wash or meet your mother-in-law? Um, I think you need a healthy base of and foundation of being a good person, and then you build funny on top of that, and you look for ways of looking at the world in a unique way and using language to portray things in a way that's surprising or unique. And also, your desire to make people laugh and bring happiness to other people is a big part of it. If you're just being funny because you just want to be the funny guy and you want people to bow down and worship you, then it's probably not going to be as funny. But if you have a pure heart and you just want to bring a smile to a beautiful group of people, then it's probably better than someone that just is feeding their ego. Yeah, it's the internet. He was just kidding. You go, bro. You can do it if you put the work in. It's just like, obviously, he's going to say you're not funny because that's a funny thing to say. Just be like damning and be like, dude, you're not the thing that you're trying to do. But I don't think funniness is like a height or a weight thing. I think some people have a personality type that is the general public finds easier to laugh at, but you don't really want to be that, or else you're like some clown, like, like a big fat. If you really want to be funny, just get really fat and just make a bunch of fat jokes. Russia invaded Ukraine. They were pushed by America and their endless imperialism to do that, but they still are. Like Russia, when they lost the Soviet Union, they could have been integrated into modern society, but America wanted to punish them and keep torturing them. So, what other option did they have than to be belligerent, imperialistic assholes? Some say that they would never accept Russia because America is a global hegemony and Russia is also just too powerful for us to be friends with. There can only be one, and America has a winner take all attitude. So, Russia was pushed out. They had no role. They couldn't even be like France or Great Britain. They should have at least been like Canada to us, but we just shoved them to the side, exploited their people and their resources. Um, and so they were left out of the world circle. NATO kept encroaching on their territory for no reason, and into their sphere of influence for no reason. And so they lashed out and attacked Russia. But honestly, like if we didn't antagonize them, they wouldn't have been painted into a corner. But yeah, obviously, Russia invading Ukraine is not ideal, and it's horrible that the people of Ukraine are suffering and dying. War, I heard, is not a great thing to live through unless it's awesome. As using it as a staging platform to attack Russia, their literal ally or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm more sympathetic to Russians than the average American, but I'm not too. Goal is to strategically defeat Russia. We made more money by keeping them as an opposing force even after they try to join NATO. That's what terrorists are for. Now we got Russians and Muslims. We got immigrants. We got so many people we need to smash. Thank you for buying a shadow system. It is a great gun. Uh, I think that it's great that you have a gun now. Hopefully you use it for good and not evil. But yeah, what a cool hobby, just going around shooting things. Um, as in USA's goal is to strategically defeat Russia. I feel like we already did that, and then we just kept fucking pounding on them after we defeated them. Like, how much more of a defeat? I just wish, yeah, I mean, I think we agree proletariat games. They're not belligerent. They have like 12 military bases outside of Russia, which is nothing compared to America. But that's still a lot. I wonder where they're probably in Georgia and fucking Mongolia, places that don't really matter. But yeah, I'm honestly not too knowledgeable about Russia, but I just feel like America is the one with all the power, and if something is going haywire in the world, it's probably because of the people that have all the power that use their power in a way that wasn't appropriate. But yeah, I wish that we could just sort of take everything in, all our military bases, just fucking smush it back into America. Mongolia matters, bro. Fucking hell. What the fuck? Mongolia matters to what? Their contribution in beef? I mean, they have great history. What are they? Just some Amish town that we can relive Genghis Khan through? It's just like they're being kept alive through Genghis Khan's memory. So I think that's just a tribute to how awesome Genghis Khan is that China still lets them muck around in Ulaanbaatar. I'm not good enough to go drone racing. I am so bad. I don't know how people get so good at it. I've been doing it for a while now. I'm still not good. I'm so afraid to fly it. That's probably why I'm not good. I'm always afraid of crashing. I'm just too afraid of crashing. I should crash more. I have the DJI insurance. I fly DJI FPV just because I don't want to mess with soldering and soldering. I just want to fly. I don't want to hobby. I don't want to learn how to solder. Okay, I just want to fucking play on the joysticks and make the things go running around. Mongolian lives matter because I don't know. Why you want problems? Leave Russia alone. Why you want problems? Leave Russia alone. Why you want problems, silly? Silly. Very silly. Russians are very silly. I wish that we could incorporate Russian culture into the world, but unfortunately, America has decided that they want to keep bashing on them to prove that they are the best. Yeah, we are so good. Ha ha ha. Look at the Russia. This is a laptop, lappy toppy. Oh, it's a laptop. It's a gaming laptop. I just use it for podcasting now. I have a whole setup in here. Don't have to bring anything. I have two laptops, one desktop. But yeah, it's ridiculous to be like, I don't want to bring my laptop around. Let me just buy another one. But it is super convenient. What is Shane Gillis like IRL? How many beers can he smash in one sesh? Shane is so cool. Like I saw him walking around on 6th Street and he's like, "Hey, come along. We're going to some bar. Let's go drink." And so we go to this bar and we start drinking with Shane Gillis. I was just walking around. And you know who else was there? Andrew Callahan from Channel 5 News. We don't fuck with custers. And I met him, smoked a J with Andrew Callahan in the back of a pedicab. He wasn't in the same pedicab as me. He was in a different pedicab, and we passed the joint to each other. That's how cool Shane Gillis um, is that you can meet Andrew Callahan. But yeah, Shane is one of my favorites, one of the GOATs of stand-up comedy. He's just so funny with great jokes and great delivery. He's just like an everyman. He's on stage. He's just saying jokes. He's being himself. It's great. Same with China. Have you been seeing all the That about their open source AI that was released last week? Oh, that's not pretty sick. But yeah, I mean, China released an open AI, and now I can Google things with a different skin, and it tells me the answer. So I don't really see the point in AI yet. I would say, hey, instead of making an awesome thing that has no use to me, why don't you make a slightly less awesome thing that I can actually do something? Like, I say the guy that came up with the self checkout is more important than this fucking open AI. At least I see that every day. How's this Sugar Sean strip club experience? Was it pretty wild? Well, the thing is that my girlfriend found out I was going to a strip club, and then she had to come with me, and then I left her in the car, and then she came out for a little bit, but I didn't want to piss her off too much because but it's a strip club, so we just were there for a little bit. We spent like $20. We flung $20 at strippers with Sugar Sean. Spent almost no money, and then we just dipped. I wish we stayed longer. Wish we imbibed in the debauchery, but I don't think that's very healthy. I never leave a strip club feeling great. So, maybe it was good that it was just a limited experience. But yeah, I wish that I could have partied with Sugar Sean a little bit more. But unfortunately, I am in a relationship, and strip clubs are not most conducive to long-term relationships. So it was a sacrifice I had to make. Anyways, I should probably get going soon. The big thing is the Chinese AI costs like 5 million and it's open source, whereas OpenAI Grok. Oh, that's what I see on Twitter. Is that's AI. They have AI in their shit. I never fucking use it. Unless it was like billions to put in it, much worse. Another strip club. Yeah, I think it's great. I just wish they would start using it more. It's like, why do you have humans making AI? Why don't you have AI making AI? I would say that you're not missing out on much. Even if you meet a beautiful stripper there and you have a great connection, you know that it's fake and that it's not going to lead anywhere. Um, but yeah, you should go. It's like a thing that our people do. It's a dance of our people. It's a cultural thing. But yeah, I mean, I just I don't see the point in it. I guess I would rather try to get a real girl. A lot of it is crap, but it has some good practical uses. Okay, guys, I'm probably gonna go. Okay, thank you guys so much. I love you. Good night.